Assalamualaikum everyone, this is Syedah and welcome to my channel. If you are new here, then please subscribe to my channel and press the bell icon. In this video, you will have a stanza-wise explanation of the poem Ambulances by Philip Larkin. So without wasting any further time, let's get started. Close like confessionals, they thread loud noons of cities, giving back none of the glances they absorb. Light glossy grey, arms on a plaque, they come to rest at any curb. All streets in time are visited. In the first stanza, Philip Larkin says that ambulance is a closed little box like confessional. The very first simile he used for ambulances is a sacred thing, that is closed like confessionals. Then he uses the word thread because ambulances are able to move into the narrow lanes of a city just like the thread can move anywhere. There is no place that is out of reach from these ambulances. They can reach every corner, every place in the city. Noise is a sign of life in poetry, and noon, the middle of the day when life is at its full bloom, death comes. Ambulances reach loud noons. Here noons mean the time when life activity is at its peak. The poet further explains the whole scene that when an ambulance would pass, people would look at it, but ambulance doesn't give back any of the glances. Here ambulances are personified. They are aware that people are looking but they pass indifferently. Light shiny grey color tells you that there must be something written like the name of person, his address, hospital's name, etc. Then the poet tells that ambulances stop by at any place. This is the characteristic of death. Like death, ambulances can reach every street, house and corner, etc. So, ambulance here is a metaphor for death. In Larkin's poetry, there is no glorification of death. Ambulances are claustrophobic like confessional boxes where you admit your sins. Death brings you all your sins back to your mind and you have to confess that you have been a sinner. When death appears, it is least concerned with your problems, desires, and is removed from your emotional and psychological life. Simply, every street is visited by ambulances and there is no place where death cannot reach. Next comes our second stanza. Then children tune on steps or road, or women coming from the shops. Past smells of different dinners, see a wild fight face that overtops. Red stretcher blankets momently as it is carried in and stored. In the second stanza, poet has shown us a very common scene that every person has seen. Children are playing on steps or road and women are coming from the shops. It is a very typical modernistic feature where everyday life is in its full dreariness. There is no nightingale singing, no flowers, etc. but very normal activities are discussed. This is very modern about city life, that everyone from us does ordinary tasks. Children are playing, women are coming from shops and the smell of different dinners coming. Different dinners image tells you about the diversity in city life because everyone has their own taste in life. In the first three lines, we see normal life activities, and then in the next three lines, there is something different. A wild white face is the face of death, the face of dying person. He has fear, whiteness and lifelessness on his face. Red stretcher blanket is put on the dead body and then he is loaded in the ambulance like the luggage. This tells you about the uselessness of that person after his death. He becomes something that has been put away and stored somewhere. The moment life gets out of you, you become a burden. Here the worthlessness of human life is enhanced. The moment you are dead, you lose every significant thing about you, and then you are taken away by an ambulance like a redundant thing, something useless and worthless. Next comes our third stanza. And sense the solving emptiness that lies just under all we do, and for a second get it whole, so permanent and blank and true. The fastened doors recede. Poor soul, they whisper at their own distress. In stanza 3, you sense or ambulance sense, or the people who look around they sense. Not sure the poet is talking about the onlookers, ambulances or death. Whosoever is sensing, he says that whatever we are doing, there is no significant meaning in our daily life activities. We are going nowhere and this is typical modern despair. Death resolves the dilemma of human life which is worthless and directionless. Death makes us whole for a second. Even death becomes meaningless if you believe in life hereafter. Death is permanent, blank and true, and there is no escape from it. It will always be there in permanence. The poet further says that when the dead body is taken away, the onlookers just say two words, poor soul. Their own distress means the ever-present consciousness of death, that they will also die sooner or later. They see a dead body going, they worry about their own distress and whisper, poor soul. If we notice, we would realize that the prayer for that person is missing here. How people are preoccupied with their own distress. Nobody thinks about the poor soul. This is the dreariness of modern life, that people are so preoccupied with their petty problems, there is hardly any sense of community or sense of partnership association. Everyone is a prisoner of one's own distress. That's what modern man has become. This is the dreariness of modern life that despair poet talks about very much. In the fourth stanza, poet says that all things in which we are occupied our whole life, like family, fashions, and everything that we think is meaningful or making sense of our life, comes to a sudden shut. Even if we are in loss, even if we are occupied by a family or fashion, everything will eventually come to an end. In the very last stanza of our poem, the poet says, "This is our prison, modern man's prison, and we remain occupied in this. There is no sublimity about it. This prison began to loosen, began to go away in death. Only death seems to be a salvation and freedom here. The last scene, when ambulance goes away, there is no love, exchange of vows, loving messages, love touch, etc. Everything just remains behind that person. The room poet is talking about in the last stanza can be a grave, hospital, school room, etc. Then the poet says that traffic always gives way to these ambulances to let go by. This is the only courtesy society provides. The ambulance is then going far and only the grave is left to come. Ambulance is going so far that there comes a distance between the onlookers and the ambulance. Gradually, the sound also becomes dull. This is what we are. We live life playing, cooking, dancing, shopping, etc. And then this is what happens to all of us. Our death arrives and we are left with no choice other than meeting our final destiny." So this was our today's video. If you find this video helpful, then please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe my channel. See you in my next video. Bye bye.